Welcome back to Retail Therapy on the Sunday Scaries podcast feed. My name's Will DeFries. With me in the studio today, my loyal co-host Barrett Dudley. Barrett, how we doing today?
I'm doing. It's a mix. You know, I'm mixed today. On one hand, weather absolutely delightful. My new A24 and Online Ceramics Spring Breakers 10-year anniversary tee came in, which I'm proudly showing off today. On the downside, I'm having a conscious of crisis. Because I'm putting together my derby suit kit, which I came in here all bold and brash like a couple of weeks ago, being like, I got this. What are you talking about? Nothing's wrong. I'm just gonna wear what I got because it's perfect. And now I tried it on for the first time last night all together. I'm not loving it. I think I need a new tie. I need a little bit. My inability to sew like even simple things like moving a button on a sleeve would That would be huge right now if I was able to do that, because I'm having a thing where I got my new shirt in. Shirt's great. I like the light blue under the green, but the sleeve button, the cuff, it's too loose, so it's hanging out too much from my jacket.
I'll be honest, Barrett. I'm stressed as hell right now.
Plus my tie, the brown, it's giving fall. I need it to give spring.
Had I gone through with my original fit that I wanted for Derby, I would have showed up giving Joker, which is not what I wanted to show up giving. And now I'm going to show up, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Did you lock down that purple Drake's tie?
No.
No. Okay,
To be honest,
is that what? Because I know you were thinking green suit, purple tie, which could have.
Well, I can't. I'm not doing green suit. I don't want to spoil anyone else's fits here.
Have you seen the SNL about doing Joker? By the way,
no.
Okay, I'll share later.
I somehow haven't, even though you and I are like the two people who still watch SNL front to back. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, we're in grind time. We're doing a very rare Friday recording of Retail Therapy. At this point next week, we will be at the Kentucky Derby. At this point, or I guess we will be in Louisville. And the next day, we will be at Derby. And I'll be honest, Barrett, I feel just as far from what I'm wearing to Derby now as I was when we recorded last week, a week and a half ago. I have my suit. I'm thinking about going super casual underneath the suit. I'm thinking about maybe doing like a linen shirt, a little party shirt action under the suit instead of going classic.
Okay, so you're thinking right now maybe no tie. You're going to eschew the tie.
I might just go no tie.
Damn.
One of my issues is that like I kind of want a fun tie. And by fun tie, I don't mean like a keyboard tie or something like that. But like
you should do a keyboard tie.
I want something that's a little more out there for Derby.
Right,
it's the time to dress up and be more fun. It's a time to have a fun twist on your suit. The Drake's tie that I want is simply sold out.
Right.
It's also really expensive, but I think as far as expensive ties go, I liked that tie enough to bite the bullet and do it. But I'm just in dire straits.
Ties, as I've come to learn, they're very expensive on the upper echelon. Yeah, I texted my guy at By George today, and I was like, "What ties you got?" And he sent me a couple. He sent me like their array of ties, and I was like, "Okay, give me the deets on this one and this one." Both are well over $250.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot of people inherit like their dad's vinyl collection. I would love to inherit my dad's tie collection, of which it is very, very deep.
So are you saying that I should not liquidate my entire tie collection because it's just not working for him anymore?
No, I think you hold on to it a little bit and let it appreciate for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let the styles come back into vogue, because ties definitely, I mean, just like everything, they go in and out. But the Derby prep is definitely highlighting how rarely we get to dress up and wear suits anymore.
Yes.
Because like there's just like the little things that I've forgotten about. Like my very casual kind of green seersuckery textured J. Crew suit, which has a little bit of a boxy fit, is not working with like a luxury silk tie.
Here's the thing.
Like it needs a very specific tie to go with it.
Oh, as someone who has a dark green linen suit, I've confronted this a million times, and now I have two ties that I really just rotate in and out. It's tough. I mean, so I had someone reach out to me and they're like, "You can't go derby hat. Like that's not for you." And I actually respect that. Yeah. But like what I'm not sold on avoiding yet is a baseball cap of some sort. And I'm not talking like, I'm not going to wear like some like lame dork dad cap, but I'm like, if I can locate some type of hat that makes it look like I'm Hunter S. Thompson at the Kentucky Derby covering it, like in like the old school way, maybe I could do something like that. But right now, like we've got a suit and we have nothing else. I'm panicked. I'm excited though.
I am very excited. I mean, and I think it's all going to come together. I think the stakes are just too high. I don't think either of us are going to brick this. But that being said, there's some work to be done.
There's work to be done.
Now, one more thing, we'll touch on this again later. I think it's in the rundown. There was a pink version of the Rico shirt from Get Ready to Ring the Bell, Randy, Aime Leon Dore. And I'm pretty much at capacity on the lace shirt front.
I'm getting there.
You know what I mean? Like I've got like 3 now. I think that's plenty.
How many lace shirts does one man need?
I really liked the pink version, and had I been a little bit more prepped, like it had all this. Had I known that I was, stressing over Derby a little bit earlier with a little bit more time to prep, I might have gone after the pink Rico, because I did the OG Rico for Dylan's wedding last year. To great success.
So I think
lots of hand clap emojis.
That is kind of, I'm not going to go lace underneath my suit for Derby, but I might be going a similar cut shirt underneath my suit for Derby.
Yeah.
I have one shirt that I know, or I'm hoping will work, and we'll be finding out shortly after this podcast recording today. And so we shall see. Shall see.
Sorry, can I do one more check-in?
Yes.
For you, just as we're just talking the talk, right? In why? Next, let's see, I guess when this comes out, it'll basically be next week.
Correct.
It'll be, the next week. Looking like pretty nice weather there. I'm feeling confident about my New York kits, my Nordstrom shopping experience.
I feel good.
All that's going really well.
I feel good.
So less stress there, and I just want to,
Barrett and I both had styling appointments with Nordstrom.
Yeah.
They both went well. I'll be honest, if it's warm weather there, I'm going to be in good shape. I have pants and a shirt, but both will suit me well in warm weather if need be. And by warm, I just mean if I walk a block, will I sweat?
Right.
Which, based on how much I walk in Austin, Texas, I probably will sweat in New York.
Yeah, you might. I just, I've been doing my homework on our interviewee. Mm-hmm. Yes, on our interviewee, Gian. Very fashionable guy.
Mm-hmm. It's stressful interviewing people who know their shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people where I can go into the interview and be like, you know what, this person's here just to have fun, and I'm sure he is too.
Yeah.
But when someone knows their shit and they can immediately just be like, well, that's not how it is. It's like, oh no. And when also there's an audience of 100 to 120 or 140 people, that also changes things.
That does change things. We will need to. Last thing I'll say here before we get into some housekeeping. We need to put down a list of words that we might say or brands that we might say during that podcast, mm-hmm. and look up the pronunciations beforehand, because we can't be dropping any lows in front of Gian.
It's pronounced Loewe. I hate it. I can't even. Anytime I see the Loewe logo now, I feel sick. I want to throw up on myself. I hate it.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
We've got some topics today. Some topics I'm very excited to cover. Before we do, please go make sure that you subscribe to youtube.com/Sunday Scaries podcast. You can watch us on here. Barrett's got the desktop presenter showed up today, so we're going to be looking at all the stuff. Go follow @retail.pod on Instagram. If you want our listener companions, head over to the Substack, which you can find in the description of this episode. And if you got any questions for us, feel free to email us. Get in touch with us any way you can. We see most of the stuff. Sometimes if we don't respond to a DM, I'm probably screenshotting it and saving it for later. I apologize. We can't respond to everything. But the best way to get a question answered is doing that. Again, hopefully we see you guys out and about at Derby. We don't have anything specific that we're going to be doing to meet people anywhere. But if you do see us out and about, we'll be in the thick of a lot of different events that are pretty popular at Derby. Come say hi. Come say what up. And if you can make it to New York, make sure to send an email to that RSVP email, and hopefully you can get in and do it. Otherwise, I think it's time to talk olive oil feuds and beefs.
Yeah. It's a big industry, big olive oil, and thereby there are bound to be a lot of kerfuffles.
Would you say that? What level of knowledge do you have of olive oil?
One time in Breckenridge, Colorado, I went into a bespoke olive oil shop, mm-hmm, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Be careful. Is it actually bespoke? Because I can call that olive oil shop and have a conversation with somebody.
That is true. That's true. Man, we're just going to tie it all together in this episode. It's all connected. So that, so I've dabbled in a little olive oil. As far as my buying habits, I get to Central Market and I look at the stuff, and then I always end up with the Central Market brand because it's packaged nicely. It seems like it's probably fine, and it's like $10 instead of $27.
So yeah, you do what I do, and you look at all the expensive ones, and you're like, oh, should I upgrade? Should I upgrade this? You look at the top shelf, and then you're like, I don't know if I can. Then you start to think about like what that will do to your total as you're checking out, and you're like, oh man, a $40 bottle of olive oil could really sink me this week, and then you just end up getting the Central Market.
And then with grocery prices right now, everything is just like, it seems like they're just adding 50 cents to literally everything by the week. And so, you know, it's like I'm trying to buy other stuff. I got to make the sacrifices somewhere. And the high end olive oil is usually the first thing to go. But I'm not like out here buying like the, you know, Hill Country Fare like $5 version either.
I try to use at least like okay olive oil, I guess. I didn't know anything about olive oil. I thought it'd be fun to do an olive oil tasting in Napa one time when we were out there, but everyone just wanted to drink, and they swatted me out of the gym when I pitched that idea. But when we did our wine tasting in Italy, we had a long conversation with our guide because she was very into olive oil. And she essentially told us, Americans are idiots. You guys are spineless swines who don't use good olive oil. She's like, even the college, poorest university students use good olive oil over here because that's what's in our blood. And she just made us feel like absolute peasants.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes a way that I consider a product cool is by its proximity to places that I think are cool as well. And there's an olive oil that I've been seeing a lot of lately, and I'm sure everybody has, just due to its, you know, presence in stores, due to remarketing ads on Instagram. But I'm talking, of course, about an olive oil that looks like it could be in the Sunday Scaries collection of things. It's called Grazza. Is that how you say it?
I'm not sure I would have put that T in there.
Grazza.
But maybe it does belong.
I don't know.
You know, this is the type of thing I'm talking about, Will.
Loewe, dude. Loewe. Aime Leon Dore.
But look, my algorithm is clearly on the fritz because I've never heard of this.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
you haven't seen this in restaurants?
No, and I follow Bon Appetit and peruse the olive oil and
so
I don't know what's happening, but I like the way it looks. This is a brilliant idea. This little like sriracha squeeze bottle olive oil.
I mean, so maybe I'm hyper aware of it because they have the same font as Sunday Scaries on their label.
Oh, yeah.
And while I'm not defensive of that, like I didn't create the font. I used it because I thought Nike looked really good when they used it back in the day, and I really liked it. So that's why I started using it. I don't really have any beef in that respect. But I am seeing it everywhere, and it does make me wonder. I'm seeing it so many places that I'm starting to wonder, like, okay, are these people good marketers, or do they have a really good product? And that question I don't have an answer to.
Sure.
Well, I didn't have an answer to it until they did one of the worst marketing ploys you could do, which is complain about another company similar to you who existed before you getting in your lane when you're already in their lane.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about is the founder went on a little LinkedIn tirade, and this has started what people are calling the olive oil wars, and I absolutely love it. It says, Mr. Benin, I'm going to call him that. I don't know how, Mr. Loewe is the chief executive officer and co-founder of Grazza, a direct-to-consumer startup launched in 2022 that sells olive oil in squeezable forest green plastic bottles designed for optimal drizzling and Instagramming. This goes for either $20 for their drizzle or $15 for their sizzle. And this week on LinkedIn, he wrote a post calling out copycat culture. And the New York Times notes, in the post, he singled out a competitor's new olive oil, which is also packaged in a squeeze bottle and marketed as something to be drizzled over pizza. Quote, while friendly competition was always welcome, I do view this as blatant disrespect and am choosing to voice my discontent. He even chose to tag the company Brightland and its founder, and included a photo of the squeeze bottle in question. He said, #founders know that this day will come. Personally, I think it's okay to get miffed when people rip you off.
Yeah, it is okay to get miffed if you feel ripped off. It is not okay to go on a tirade on LinkedIn about it, which, as a quick aside, we've never talked about LinkedIn culture or #founder culture on this podcast, but it's awful. It's real bad.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
LinkedIn influencers are just, I mean... Give me the bullshit from like the wellness chicks on Instagram all day before I even want to touch.
Do you have the LinkedIn app on your phone?
I do.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's no way. Yeah. There's no way I'm doing that. Like I have no desire.
I get on LinkedIn to look people up. if I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, well, their name was this and they worked here, and I'm like, I want to try to connect or track them down or something like that. Like that's mostly what I'm using LinkedIn for.
I use it. It's total vetting for me.
Yeah, I'm not like scrolling my main feed, reading all the bullshit copy pastas on there.
So if you're trying to drop a diss track on someone, you're not going to LinkedIn.
I'm not going to LinkedIn. You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember back in the OV Outdoor Voices heyday when Bandier copied the OV like tri-block?
No, I don't remember
like
this.
Angular leggings. This was probably 2018, 17.
God, how did I not write about this on PGP?
And Ty Haney, who I've got a lot of respect for, and will always follow what she does because I think she's super talented and interesting. But she went on an Instagram stories tirade against Bandier, and it was a really bad look.
Yeah, so like
because you it's just not something that you like. You just don't air the dirty laundry like that. Like that's just part of the game of creating something new and popular, is that there will be copycats in your wake.
It's frustrating. As somebody who has created some things that have been copycatted before, it's really frustrating. And I let it boil over sometimes. Like,
I've seen you like kind of like nod and wink to it.
But I try to do that because
you know what I mean? Like, which is one thing.
But it's like it's a slippery slope though, because like, let's take Slam's laptop shop, for example.
Right. Yeah.
It's a weird example because it's something that obviously benefits the Sunday Scaries brand from a social standpoint. It's very shareable. People really like it. It also is a thing that is like, I use photos that celebrities posted themselves for this. So it's not super like creative content. It's very low maintenance content that is put out. And I really don't have any ownership to it because it's difficult to trademark things that aren't a thing yet. You really have to make something a thing before you can actually trademark it.
Yeah.
And no one else can do that before me at this point because I know I can do it. So I'm not really worried about that. I'll get it done. What becomes weird is like, is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Like, should I be happy that NFL teams are copying that? Or should I be annoyed that like these NFL teams are doing it and taking something from like, I mean, it's really only me running that feed. Yeah, I think if they knew that it was just kind of one person behind it, they would maybe feel more implored to give a hat tip or something.
Yeah.
But it's an awkward thing because like I want the cred, but at the same time, like, am I flattered that like an NFL team or somebody else? I have a running list of brands who have posted it without attribution. And it's mainly a way for me to have that spite inside of me without letting it out to the world because I know it's not a good look to like go scorched earth on something like that. I also know it's not totally just. And so like this guy doing it, he did scale it back with a later LinkedIn post, which is like, just do it on Instagram. Like no one's looking at LinkedIn. Just go do it on Instagram.
Yeah, I think it can be both, right? Like here's the quote from Ms. Ryu, who I think is the founder of Mighty Patch, which is like a zit curing thing.
Yeah.
And her quote, I think it comes with the territory. She said, it means you're achieving some level of success if there are copycats out there. It's something that we try to definitely defend against, but it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And like, just, I mean, at Howler, right? Like it's something that we deal with all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that looks just like us. Or whether it's a hat or a shirt or a marketing campaign or the way that things are presented, like we feel very strongly that we kind of like, we're kind of, forebears of this very specific niche. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of it happening like kind of in our wake. And I think that almost what you're saying, it's like, we would never call that out loud. We never like, make any type of like pointed reference to it. But what we do is like use it to kind of spur us on to continue creating and like staying ahead of the curve. So like for this guy and his olive oil, like he marketed this really well. He made it look pretty. He obviously like took this idea, which I think is also notable that chefs and like restaurants have been doing for a long time.
This tells me that this guy feels like he doesn't have anything on the forefront that he needs to like get on to like release a new product with. Like,
yeah. So the fact that he's like up in arms about this, it's just kind of like an eye rolly. Like, man, just take your win. You're gonna be fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating. Keep innovating. And like this is just like Drew Ryu said. Like it's just part of the territory.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing, but he flew into the sun. Unfortunately, I get it. He got upset. He hit that LinkedIn. Who knows? Maybe he just woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. But if olive oil producers continue to feud, we will continue to cover it. If any other industries want to get in the mix and start feuding too, I would love to see some caviar feuds. I would love to see. I mean, I don't even know at this point. Maybe like Malden salt. Like maybe they'll start beefing with some other like flaky salt brands, and we can get in on that.
Yeah,
I'd be in for all of it.
Yeah, like maybe. What's the main salt brand? What's the Morton's? Is it Morton's?
Yeah, the girl with the umbrella. Yeah.
Maybe Morton's, like, maybe Morton and Maldon
that would be great.
They just start going at it on social media.
How do you pronounce the flaky salt?
I say Maldon.
I said Maldon one time, and someone was like, "Yeah, I think you're classing it up too much." And then I went to Malden one time, and someone looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Maldon," and they were like, "Oh, that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about." I have no clue. Loewe.
Yeah. So, what about are there any podcast feuds out there? It seems like that's a space ripe for feuds.
Yeah, I mean podcasts feud all the time, but like I feel like all the podcasts that are feuding are just like Barstool podcasts feuding with each other. You know what I mean? Like if we were going to start like feuding with people that would be considered like our competitors, like it wouldn't feel genuine.
No.
I'd be like, no, like I kind of want to, instead I would like to go hang out with these guys and maybe drink some beers or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. If someone wants to come at us and like give us a reason,
then right.
I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'll listen. Yes. I do like the way that my blood starts to boil a little bit when I can feel a feud coming on. It feels good.
That's why you want to call out these other brands. You're ready to dance. You're ready to get into a feud with somebody.
I only punch up.
Yeah.
I'll say that too. If a smaller brand does a Slams laptop thing and like they're doing it and I see it, like it makes me happy. I'm like, hey, good for you. But if it's like, I'll keep using the NFL team, for example, because I've had numerous. If I know that they have a social team and I know that social team's just being lazy, that's when I get annoyed because I'm like, nah, I've worked too hard. I've worked too hard in the last 10 years to let like some like recent grad that doesn't follow Scary so they don't get caught. Like I'm not having that. I'm not playing that game. I'm too weathered. But what I think we need to talk about now, Barrett, is the main event of my timeline from the last week.
Yeah.
I don't know where this came from. I don't know if there was something I missed beforehand. I don't know if this just popped up out of nowhere to everybody, but something that was completely unavoidable and honestly completely enjoyable to watch from afar was Sofia Richie's wedding.
Yeah.
This is Lionel Richie's daughter, just to get it out there. I love All Night Long, one of my favorite songs. Did you have this on your radar as something that was going to be like the event of the spring?
I am going to obnoxiously pat myself on the back here.
Let's go.
With literally no evidence to back it up.
Okay.
But actually, first let me say this. This popped up on my feed. I know that Sofia Richie has been engaged to her now husband for I think quite a while. I think a year and a half or 2 years now.
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
So I did not know that this wedding was like about to happen.
Okay.
It definitely started popping up on my feed when it did. And I was immediately drawn to it. It looked very cool. There's a lot of black and white photography that I really, really like. As if you're listening to this podcast, you may know that I am due to be married early next year.
Famously.
So I'm famously, yes. So I'm taking a lot of cues from the photography, especially. We also might be leaning black tie. So this was a black tie wedding.
Please do.
And so I was just really, really drawn to it. Then I saw on the Scaries feed that a lot of people were like sending you questions about this and kind of like that there was a lot of hubbub around it. And then I think somebody maybe even DM'd us or dropped another question that was like, how do we feel about Sofia being the new it girl over Haley? Now let me gas myself up. Club Cool, first 100 followers, Sofia Richie. Like I've been a longtime fan. But when she got engaged to Mr. Grange here, she kind of pulled back.
Mm-hmm.
Like my fandom really like happened when I was mostly just like wringing my hands that she would date Scott Disick, who I find to be fashionable but relatively intolerable.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way of putting it.
But
that should be his Instagram bio.
But yeah, like I've always thought she had a really good look, really good style, and so to hear that she's kind of like getting her due, maybe like kind of
Welcome to the big league,
coming back
Sofia.
into the spotlight a little bit is great because I've got a lot of time for her.
Like, I mean, people kept asking, like, I mean, this was a lot of questions about her wedding when I asked for Sunday Scary's listener questions this week. So many people were like, why do you think it's so popular? Why do you think it's going crazy? I'm like, because they crushed it. Like, there's no other, like, every look that she's had, she looks incredible in it.
Yep.
Every photo that's been taken, it looks like it's like perfect. Like, it just looks like a picture perfect setting.
I'll also say, yes to all of that. They also shared immediately a lot of great imagery and photography.
Yeah.
So I think that's another difference is that not every, like, I don't remember a bunch of unbelievably cool photography coming out from, like, I don't know, say Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian's wedding. I feel like it was all paparazzi shots.
This was like, this wedding was so concise and so like regimented and seemingly well done and efficient. Whereas like I couldn't keep up with the Kardashian Barker stuff. It was too much. It was like, what do we do? Like there's so many weddings going on.
To put it a different way, I almost feel like they just treated their wedding like like a friend on social media might treat theirs.
Exactly.
Where they're just like, we had this amazing party and I'm going to dump all the photos on my gram because I'm really proud of them and think they're really cool. And like I think that's what people are kind of maybe picking up on a little bit.
It also looks legitimately fun. Which most celebrity weddings, I'm sorry, do not look that much fun. Like we had Hailey Bieber walking around in her Virgil Abloh like veil, and it stressed me out the entire time that somebody was going to step on it with a heel, and suddenly we got a snag in it that's worth $25,000. And like this looked legitimately fun. I also think that it's time for a little vibe shifting, a little away from the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I think it's time the south of France got more of their due. I know the south of France has always been there. I know people have been like going there for ages and it's always been a thing.
Yeah.
But I think she might have shifted the vibe very hard in the direction of the south of France for this summer.
Look, people are saying that the Amalfi Coast has been overexposed at this point, you know?
It's tough out there.
You know?
I mean,
it's like Taylor Swift in her Reputation era. She's just a little oversaturated.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. No, I'm not out. I can't be out on I can't go to the Amalfi Coast once and then be out on it.
You could. I feel like that would be, you know,
it's on brand, but it's too insufferable. I think. Yeah. Like my PR team told me, they're like, well,
you can't.
You want to be insufferable, but not too insufferable. What would you have worn to the wedding? Obviously, it's black tie. Would you have done any wild boy stuff?
So, I don't know. I don't think so. I think you got to keep it ultra classic. The nice thing about black tie is that like you don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. It's great. I love it.
Right? Like you actually like in a way like it's very, it's very elegant. It everybody looks great, but you kind of like pull out when everybody's uniform like that, you kind of like pull out some of the pomp a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why sometimes they're the most fun.
Yeah.
One thing that I was thinking about was like, well, if you go black tie and as the groom, you do a tuxedo, then you look like everybody else there. But I actually kind of like that a little bit.
I kind of do too.
Like there's something that I don't know, like makes you kind of like you're one of the people at the party instead of like having to be, it's the bride's party anyway, right? Like
exactly.
She's the spotlight.
Exactly.
So you just kind of get to fade into the mix a little bit. I don't know.
Okay, Barrett, I'm not asking for Barrett Dudley's tuxedo rules, but I'm going to ask for your personal preference on how you've operated in the past. Are you cummerbund or are you suspenders?
Okay. So I have been everything over the course of the last decade and a half, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I first got into tuxedos, I actually liked the vest because I didn't
I've never been
because
vest.
I didn't like the cummerbund.
Yeah.
Then James Bond, the Daniel Craig Casino Royale,
mm-hmm.
was a paradigm shifting moment for the tuxedo. He wore Tom Ford, and he wore a covered placket tuxedo shirt.
Yeah, those are the hottest thing
with
right
no
now.
bib.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have the seam bib that like kind of then like stops like 4 inches above your waistline.
Yeah.
And sometimes kind of demands the cummerbund.
Yeah.
It also didn't have the exposed 4 buttons where you like have 4 studs
mm-hmm.
and then you don't have them all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Again, kind of demanding the cummerbund.
Yeah.
And he like, that was like, I was absolutely blown away and so taken by that. I immediately went out and got a covered placket tuxedo shirt. And for the next several years, I was no cummerbund, just basically wore it like a suit maybe you do maybe you do the suspenders under for a little bit of flare.
Mm-hmm.
Then for a while, I went to cummerbund.
See,
because I kind of like the cummerbund.
I'm at a fork in the road. I've been suspenders for the past 6-7 years.
Yep.
I feel like I need to get a cummerbund to toss in the mix every once in a while. Like, I don't know. I don't need some crazy cummerbund, but I feel like I need something. I feel like I just need one just in case I'm feeling a little saucy that day.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the cummerbund has like I'm out on the vest now because I don't like how much it covers up the shirt. It's a little too stuffy.
It's too constricting.
It's too constricting.
I also feel like if you want to take off your jacket, I like the look of a cummerbund in the shirt or suspenders with a shirt way more than vest with a shirt.
Totally.
And as a sweat boy, I would sweat on that vest the entire time so I could never take the vest off all night.
But I think that there's kind of like an antiquated elegance and kind of old timiness that I like about the cummerbund.
Yeah, I agree.
As I do head into tuxedo shopping for my own wedding, it's time to upgrade from my bonobos one. I think I'm going back to most likely covered placket with suspenders under and no cummerbund, no vest. Now I will say, my first foray into investigating a new tuxedo, I had a fitting with Sid Mashburn.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing like a little basically a little traveling pop up.
Yeah.
And so they stopped in Austin a couple weeks ago. I went for a fitting to see what they had. It turns out just in the room, hanging out, helping guide me along was Sid Mashburn.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty sweet. And he told me that he does not go. They don't even sell a cummerbund or a vest. And he likes the bib shirt with no cummerbund. He likes the exposed bib shirt underneath.
Okay. I can exhale now. I have a little personal vindication.
So
because I've been rocking that for the past 3 times I've had a tuxedo, and so now I have Sid's nod of approval.
If Sid's in on it, it is totally a go.
I was gonna go Photoshop all the old photos I had of me, so you didn't see them later and judge me.
No, it's more the stud. It's really the bigger thing was the studs stopping halway down.
Yeah,
and then
I never messed with that.
Yeah, so if you don't have that, then I'm there for that. But it does have the Sid Mashburn.
I know the answer to this because I know who you are, or I think I know the answer to this because I think I know who you are. You can tie your own bow tie, right?
Yes,
I can't.
Yeah.
So if I come knocking at your door at your wedding 10 minutes before, I'm like, hey Barry, can you tie my bow tie?
Full disclosure, I'm not great at it.
I'm bad,
but I can do it. It always looks a little wonky, but at the same time, I kind of think that's part of the appeal.
Yeah. It has to look a little. It has to look a little off because if it looks perfectly done, then it looks like a clip.
Then it looks like a clip.
You have to have it a little disheveled because that's how people know. Oh yeah, okay, he did this. Yeah. Well, honestly, If you are getting married in the next year, make sure to add some Sofia Richie stuff to your mood board. I want to start wearing just white linen everything like she's been doing for the entire wedding time too. My favorite part of this has been her fits. The photo of her standing in front of the little mini convertible, one down from you, Barrett.
Yes.
This is a great photo dump from her. This is A1 stuff.
Can I? Well, let's talk a little bit about her potential as new it girl status or rising back to that.
Yes.
There is a. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Tell me if you're getting this. There is a distinctly mature aspect to her style.
Yeah.
Which almost leans a little coastal grandma.
Yeah.
But is definitely it's not typical. It doesn't feel like a 26-year-old or how I think she's early to mid 20s, somewhere in that range.
No, she dresses. It's a grown-up style.
It's a very grown-up style, yes. And I wonder if people are also kind of responding to that because for so long, whether it's Kardashian or Kardashian adjacent, somebody like Hailey Bieber, that's all very New Yorky, young street style, a lot of California type stuff mixed in there, right? It all feels very. It just has that very specific young look, and this is. Well, I just think a broader range of people can look at Sofia Richie's style and find something that that could work for me.
Yeah.
No matter what their age is.
Yeah, you can probably find an alternative to a lot of the things that she's wearing that aren't going to break the bank. Whereas if you try to go recreate Hailey Bieber's wedding stuff, you got "Till Death Do Us Part" in giant quotes on the veil. It's going to be a difficult thing to do. Yeah, she's officially if there was a website like ESPN, but they just power ranked it girls, she's having a good week. Yeah. She's got a green arrow pointing upwards, and 100%. she's gained a lot of ground in the last week or so.
And I want to reiterate, I want to come back to it. You said it, and I think it frames it up perfectly. I think the reason that people are so, buzzy about this wedding is because it looked like an awesome time and you could picture yourself there. Yeah.
Yep. Sophia, we know you're a longtime listener. Great wedding. We're really happy for you. We're really happy for you. Us at the retail.
Where are they honeymooning?
I couldn't tell. I would like to know though. It looks like a pretty chill sitch.
We got to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out eventually. Okay. I know we will.
Yeah, she'll drop the pin after once they're gone.
Barrett, are you familiar with the Chappelle Show?
I am.
Are you familiar with the skit Player Haters Ball?
Oh yes.
Would you consider yourself to be a player hater every once in a while? Maybe behind closed doors, maybe not always.
Sure.
I like to hate on stuff all the time. I think I maybe do things sometimes that could be considered to be player hater. But I have never done what we're about to talk about. This is such a player hater move that I can't help but like simultaneously criticize it and respect it. We've talked about this person before. His name is Derek Guy. If you're on Twitter, you've seen his tweets because Twitter has served them to you, whether you like it or not. And to be honest, he's a good follow for all things men's fashion. If you don't like men's fashion, you probably shouldn't follow him because that's literally all he talks about, and he does it a lot. He's good at it. This week, there was a quote tweet that he did. There's a guy named Jackson Hinkle. I don't know much about Jackson Hinkle, but I can make a lot of assumptions based on the photo posted, which is him in a suit holding a handgun. And it says Gen Z is pro-gun. Derek Guy at Die Workwear decided to quote tweet this and create a tweet thread out of this. And it says how to tell if a suit is bespoke. So he pretty much just absolutely flamed this dude. Well, the guy responded and he said, what bums me out is when people like you try to smear talented, bespoke tailors because you don't like my politics. To which Derek Guy responded in the most player hater way I've ever seen. He said, I got my info from your tailor and from the photos you posted. I called him to ask about this process. Even he said that his base price is not the full bespoke standard, although he can do that if asked. So he called this guy's tailor to talk about this guy's suit because they beefed on Twitter. I can't think of a scenario where I've ever gone that far to dunk on somebody unnecessarily.
Yeah. Derek is an ultra progressive guy, and so he takes a lot of opportunities on Twitter to dunk on conservatives, especially conservative politicians, and especially their choice of suiting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a pastime of his, which I'm mostly here for. This does go into the kind of like well actually vibe, which is, regardless of who you're trying to take on or take down, can be a little grating and obnoxious. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like when he was the one who really started the whole conversation around Dave Portnoy's brick watches. And he's the one who really started explaining what makes a watch expensive, what makes a watch nice, and why you shouldn't buy Portnoy's watches, why they are overpriced. And that's how he got, I think, a ton of his following just from that beef that blew up what he does.
Yeah.
And Derek Guy, for me, is somebody that if I want to have some knowledge on bespoke tailoring in general, he is probably the number one resource online for this at this point when it comes to people in our demo.
Yeah.
What I don't identify with when it comes to him is the necessity to have this conversation all the time. Like, this is his world, so I respect that he's living in that world. Tailoring, suiting, things like that, they don't really move the needle for me that much unless I'm directly having to confront it for myself. And so it's not something that I'm super into. And so I don't really understand why you would need to call someone's tailor to tell them that their suit sucks. I respect it, but I don't know why you would need to do that. I don't know. Like, does he know that the way that some of his tweets come off are a little like unnecessarily dunking on people, or does he like that about it?
That's a great question, and I don't think
I can't tell the self-awareness level.
It's very hard to tell. Yeah,
and again, I don't want to criticize him because I do think that he's really good at what he does. It's just not for everybody, whether or not you're kind of into the fashion or style world in general.
It's possible. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that one of his gigs is as a professor, potentially an adjunct professor somewhere.
Okay.
He also, through the course of all of this, has remained anonymous and like won't post pictures of himself. Which so I all of that leads me to believe that there may be some lack of self-awareness, but I could be 100% wrong on that.
Yeah,
because it's so frequent and so often that it kind of like he's got to know, right?
I started reading Put This On, or at least I started following it on a couple of things because that's the blog that they work from. But they also haven't done anything from it since 2022. And so it's like, it's kind of harder to gather information about him outside of just what he's doing on Twitter. I don't follow him, and part of the reason I don't follow him is because I just get served his content so much that I don't need to follow him.
You don't even need to.
I feel like I see the important stuff, and that's fine with me because I follow, fashion and style on Twitter. I follow those topics and stuff like that. But if he's going to start just dunking on people and calling their like if he's going to call the circling back hotline to tell me that I said Loewe wrong on the Sunday Scaries podcast, like I'm going to start gaining respect for this guy like through and through.
Well, Derek, if this makes it all the way to your ears, come on the podcast.
I would love to have him on sometime. Yeah. I would love to. I honestly want to have an honest conversation about the how he has dealt with the people that dislike him because Twitter serves him well. Because that's got to be a really frustrating thing, being so good at what you do that people start to dislike you because they're annoyed with seeing it.
Part of what he kind of finishes with here, like it bums me out. He says, it bums me out when custom tailoring shops misrepresent their services as bespoke because this makes things harder for real bespoke tailors. If a tailor tells you a suit is bespoke, but you only get one fitting and you see machine-picked lapels, beware, you are being lied to. But another just kind of like funny wrinkle is that this is talking to such a tiny, tiny, tiny small audience.
And the people that are upset about it, like most of us like aren't going and worrying about this stuff.
Like who I mean, do you know a single person that has ever had a suit made bespoke?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, like the word bespoke almost scares me away from things at this point because it like.
Well, to Derek's point, like those two, like made to measure or MTM and bespoke have in a lot of ways been like mashed up and they are different.
So I don't even know. Like I have a friend who has a really nice suit and I know that he went through numerous fittings, but I don't know if that's bespoke versus just made to measure. Yeah. Like I have no clue. And I almost feel like the world has gotten so casual that the conversations surrounding suiting are going to go away at some point. I think it's going to be a dying art faster than a lot of other things going on.
If you have us pulled up on YouTube, if you don't ever get this, if you don't ever look at the mirror and this is what the jacket on you looks like,
and you're covered in chalk,
then it wasn't bespoke.
There you go. I mean,
that's the easy. That is what I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's the easiest way to tell. If you never have that on your body with all the, you see it in movies, you see it in Bond or Ocean's 11 or whatever, where like you have on the suit that like has all of the stitching exposed and it looks like very unfinished and like there's no buttons on it and there's all sorts of chalk lines and needles and all that type of shit. Like that, you're in a bespoke process there. Mm-hmm. But if you're just trying on like they put stuff on you off the rack and they're making adjustments and pinning stuff on something that looks more like a already like close to finished jacket, then you're more likely in the made to measure territory.
I've never looked up a bespoke suit because I've never been in the market for one. How much would I be expecting to spend if I was like, I'm going full bespoke?
Full bespoke,
like
real bespoke, like we're talking about here. I don't think you're getting anything under $3,000.
That's kind of what I imagined.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I imagined.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick with my suit supply for right now.
Exactly.
I don't have the
that's what serves most people now because we're not wearing suits every day.
I don't have the social schedule to support getting or the job. Like that's the thing. Like if I had a job where I had to go to a lot of things or like events, meetings, whatever, like maybe I'll go get a really nice suit.
Yeah.
Right now, I wear a suit maybe once a month. And that's a big maybe at this point, now that I'm out of like the real throes of weddings.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't have too many weddings in my crosshairs. Yours is one of them.
Randy, how many times a year are you wearing a suit?
Just weddings. So probably maybe like 2.
And for Do You Know It, a game show podcast.
I guess then every, the last Tuesday of every month.
Mm-hmm. But you're being very eco-friendly and going all thrifted for those suits, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm getting one Shein suit per month.
And they will still be in a landfill 200 years from now when we're all burned off the
Derek
earth.
On you to come after you for those Sheen suits.
Yeah, we're gonna put Derek Guy on the case, and he's gonna absolutely flame Randy.
No, they're all Goodwill and mom and pop thrift stores.
We talked about it earlier, but we got to talk about it again. We haven't done this very much, but I thought this was an especially good drop from Aime Leon Dore. And so I thought it was worth not only posting on Instagram about it from the retail therapy account, but also just kind of getting a couple nods on some favorite items. I didn't get to talk to Barrett yesterday. Did you get the early access email? Was anything sold out that you would have bought?
Not when I opened it. I'm keenly aware of when this stuff is happening. I would call it a small addiction. And so, yeah, no, I'm on 10 a.m. on Thursdays. Like when there's been posts on ALD's Instagram account, I am ready and awaiting the email there. So no, nothing was sold out. Now this was a big collection to drop, and I like to peruse. I'm just.
How stressful is it to peruse while you get that early access? So something's going to sell out while it's in your cart.
Yeah, it is because, I've kind of removed myself from the game mostly, and so like, I put the rose-colored Rico shirt in my cart, then found the other couple of things that I was pretty sure that I wanted, and when I went to check out, the Rico shirt was out of stock, and that was fine. That's okay. I have a Rico shirt. As I've already mentioned, I have enough lace shirts.
Fritz is about to have a Rico shirt.
I definitely do not need this one. But like the fact that I knew that it was like a piece that was going to sell out, of course, adds to that psychological like motivation to buy it.
I clicked in 8 minutes after the email was sent. No Rico shirts.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to get one either way, but it was something I noticed because I've been amazed by how fast they sell those things out.
It was pretty quick. It was only a few minutes. I mean, I scrolled fast.
Are you willing to say what you actually bought?
Sure. I'll throw it.
I bought one thing yesterday.
So along with drop 2 here, let's just go ahead and pull it up. ALD did their. Do you know if they put that lookbook on their website? Let's find out.
The lookbook?
No, the new thing that they did. The where they do
the burrow.
Yeah, kind of like the world's burrow thing.
Yeah. I don't know if they put it on the actual site. It's definitely on their Instagram. Here, while you look for that, I want to talk about some of the items I put on the Instagram yesterday at retail.pod.
Go for it, and I'll pull up on the Instagram.
Honestly, I put the soccer jersey as the lead image here. I just did it because it seemed expected from retail therapy. I don't especially love the soccer jersey because I don't really like inauthentic soccer jerseys for me, but I'm also a soccer snob, and I'm aware of that. I do think it's about as well done as you can do a fake soccer jersey. I'm also wearing a fake soccer jersey right now, so don't listen to anything I'm saying.
Wait, what is your fake soccer jersey?
I'm wearing a Ragazzi jersey. I don't know. I saw it on Instagram and thought it was sick, so I bought it.
Is that the one where there was the super dope black one?
I don't know.
Remember when we were talking about there was some release of like this black shirt that was
might have been this something associated with this.
I can't remember.
I did get. I regret to inform the timeline that my obsession with knitwear from ALD continues, and I have too many dark sweaters, and so I finally decided to bite the bullet and get a light colored sweater, and I bought the Eyelet Knit crew neck sweater in white. It's the perfect sweater for me during the cooler times in Austin. It's the perfect sweater for what I would need, especially summertime in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's perfect for those things. It's perfect for a wedding I'm going to this summer out of town. And it seemed worth it to me. It was also one of the items that I saw in the original lookbook where I said, I can't wait for that to come out so I can see what it looks like on the site because I really want to get it. And the fact that it was available 2 hours after they sent the early access email, I thought, well, just do it. And if you hate it, you'll get a store credit, but just do it.
Yes, this is an item that I really, really like as well. You mentioned your Michigan trip. I've got my beach trip in June. I thought about it for something like that. If it was more consistently cooler on those June North Carolina nights, like it gets to like maybe high 60s. Mm-hmm. If it was like low 60s consistently, I think this would have been a pretty easy purchase.
This will be my summer sweater for the next 3 years.
But I do love the eyelet sweater. You're getting a little bit of that like meshy lace kind of open knit sexiness from it. And so that's a great call. And I've never been one of the only categories where I've never been disappointed by an item from Aime is knitwear.
Oh yeah, the only place that I like, yeah, it's the one thing that I know that I will never feel like I got screwed spending the money on their knitwear. Unless it's something crazy expensive, but like anything I've gotten from them has withstood the test of time. It's been something that I've worn a lot of, and so I really ride for them in this respect. The other stuff I put on there were some floral pants that I thought were kind of interesting. I absolutely loved the duffel bag that they put out. I thought that was
tapestry duffel,
awesome.
Pretty sweet.
The suede jacket that I thought was incredibly inexpensive for a suede jacket from Aime Leon Dore, which makes me wonder how thin that actually is.
They have managed to keep their leather program relatively, like, all things considered, and competitors and peers in the space, like they kind of right in that. Let's see, how much was the suede jacket?
$295, I think.
Oh, that can't be real suede. That's
Tell me that I shouldn't like kick myself.
Was it this guy right here?
Yeah,
that's a brushed nylon. So it's like a sueded material that kind of looks and feels like that, but isn't actually suede.
Okay. When I saw $295 for a suede jacket from ALD, I was like, what? Why is the world upside down right now? There's like shorts on the site that are more expensive than this.
Great looking jacket though. This is the type of this is a piece of the world that ALD lives in, where they just like nail like very traditional things. Like this is very preppy. It's very trad, but it's very modern. It could be from literally any decade of the last 7 or 8. Like, and that they crush that little niche right there, where it just. I mean, that's why this brand I think got so popular, is because it appeals to so many different people that are attracted to so many different like genres of clothing and subcategories.
There's like so much in here that they released. I was very taken aback when I saw that there were like 5 pages to go through yesterday.
Yeah. Let's quickly mention the the little cropped practice football jerseys.
What's up with this?
So
you and the homies showing up for beers with these?
So here's what I'll say about this. Cropped is big in menswear right now. And if you are of a certain ilk, maybe the Nolita dirtbag making get ready with me videos on TikTok type, even going full crop top is potentially in your wheelhouse right now. This is also a less expensive item at just over $100. And I'm gonna say this. If I was in my 20s, I probably would have grabbed one of these. But at 36 years old, I cannot do the fake sports mesh cropped jersey top. No, it's out for me.
You're also like core privileged. So like, I mean, this is not something that is ever going to grace Will's shopping bag. No, I like whenever they take like a jersey, they did it a lot with their Sunny collection. Like they'd take like one of the practice basketball jerseys, and the way that they styled it, it was like, oh man, I would love to do that. But then it's like, hold on, if I wore this outfit, people would look at me like, what is this guy doing? Like, why is he wearing a mesh basketball jersey over like a t-shirt with like running leggings on and then like the matching shorts? Like, does he play for this team? Why is he not athletic enough to look like he plays for this team?
On the complete opposite side of the spectrum from young guy hip football cropped jersey, they did this massive bandana golf straw hat. Now,
should we have gotten these for Derby?
I do feel like you might need one of these for the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, I want this for Derby. Like, I know, like I was told not to do a Derby hat, but this actually seems perfect for Retail Therapy Does Kentucky Derby.
It's true. It would have been very, very, very on brand. I think you had the westerns on the polka dot western, which is.
I had those in here not because I love them,
but they're cool.
I was just like, cool. What's going on here? Like, are we just doing polka dot Western shirts?
Yeah. So here I have pulled up the some of the images from like their kind of like World's Borough campaign, where they have friends and family come in and kind of style themselves or get help styled. And from what I understand, you get to kind of go in. They've got everything on a rack, and you just kind of like I'm sure there's some instruction because they can't have everybody in the same kit, but like. You basically get to do your thing. It's always unbelievable that the way it's all put together is just always sells certain items, especially when it comes to the women wearing it. And this photo right here sold me on the cargos, which probably won't fit, but that's what I went for, is the kind of like, I believe they're calling this color Laurel Oak this season.
Okay.
And I'm very into it. So I tried out the cargos, and then I'm not typically an ALD accessories guy, Will. I do not, You know, a lot of people kind of collect them like they did with Supreme stuff, and it's one of the first things that they go after, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't. I generally don't have room or space for it, and so I skip them until this drop. Did
you get the like a little mini weed grinder or something?
No, nope, not smoking enough loud to justify that my current stage. But I did go for, here they are. I went for the coffee mugs.
Oh, let's go, Barrett.
Yeah,
let's go.
They're real porcelain. They're not plastic. I really like this little orange logo, the kind of the orange
these
graphic
are cool.
that they did. And then most crucially of all, they are dishwasher and microwave safe.
Need that.
Yeah,
I'm
not hand washing coffee cups.
I have to admit, I own one ALD mug, and it was a total like, fuck it. I'm already spending way too much on this item. Let's just throw this in the cart. I like the mug though.
Set of 4 here, man.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Is like I didn't have to. I could just throw the set in the cart. Very easy.
What about the Jungle Ripstop shirt?
That's a wild one.
I'm so confused by this because it seems like something I would love, but like this seems a little too aggressive. No, scroll up one.
Was it on that page?
Yeah, you just missed it. It just seems very aggressive. I think it's kind of an interesting item, but I do feel like in order to wear this, you'd literally have to be walking into a jungle.
Where did I miss it?
Maybe I thought something.
No. I think I got to go. I got to go back one more.
My bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's kind of a wild looking material that I don't really have a beat on. I don't really understand what's happening here. If it would be comfortable or really uncomfortable in this climate down here in Texas.
Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. I think it's a little too safari-ish for,
It's like straight up safari gear.
Yeah. I'm into the big patch pockets, but with this big like covered, like button placket, and then the short sleeves, like you just look like you're about to be like snapping photographs of a,
Let's make Randy wear this to the
Bengal tiger.
Let's have Randy wear this to the Retail Therapy Austin meetup. He has to go full Jungle Ripstop gear.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay. That we'll take all our ad revenue from the month and put it towards Randy's outfit for the thing. It'll be worth it.
I like it.
It'll be worth it.
Yep.
Let's do some wish list items, Barrett. I'll start.
Please do.
Because I'm really not turning the page very much right now. Something that was sold out during this drop was the matching shorts with the eyelet sweater that I got. And even though I don't need these, I'm putting them on my wish list because I kind of want them. Okay. I love the idea of having a matching set of ridiculous like knitwear.
Closed tab.
And so I did the eyelet knit short. It is currently sold out, which is a good thing. I have signed up for the notifications for if somebody decides to return them. Yeah. That being said, even when they're sold out, like they were more than I'm willing to spend in general. I don't even know how much they were now because it says sold out.
Well, I'm dying to see you in the matching set. I'm just dying.
I need it. I need the matching set. I want to be hungover on a Sunday, and I want to go to like a really bougie ass brunch and just my matching eyelet knitwear.
Yeah,
it just sounds so comfy. This is a total comfort play, not an imminent cop.
Yeah,
not an imminent cop.
Okay, all right. Well, just keep your head on a swivel and locked into those restock notifications.
I know they actually work. Have you ever done that with them?
I have. Yeah, like you got to be these days. You got to be very quick, but they do. It does. It works.
I think you and I are quicker than like 99% of the world, even though we don't know if we are or not. Like we probably just naturally are.
I think that's likely. Okay, for me. I'm throwing it over to our friends at Nordstrom.
Let's go.
Because as you know, we got to do our try-ons, and this piece here, this exists in the same world as your eyelet shorts, I believe, where this is not an imminent cop. It's prohibitively expensive at the moment, but it does feel like a piece that will likely make it to sale. And if it does, I'm copping because this is a John Elliott piece, a frequent contributor to my wish list. And it's the patchwork military shirt, which I kind of scoffed at when it came out. And even here in these product photos, like it just is not doing it justice. I posted my try-on photo on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. This thing is awesome in person.
Is it less? Is there less of a stark contrast between the patches? Because
it sort of. Like there is definitely contrast, but it does not read like this. Like this reads like blue and yellow and green almost.
But this is almost like this is one of those items that is so wronged by the bright studio lighting of a photo shoot for a website, where you know that if you were in a bar or out in public in shade, like it's not going to look this aggressively whatever the word would be.
Yeah. There's like the details, like it's different materials. One of them's like a really fine whale corduroy. Some of the kind of like fraying work on the seams. It's just really, really well done.
Yeah.
So shouts to Nordstrom for having this in stock up at the Domain, because now I have something that I definitely shouldn't be buying on my wish list.
Now you're just gonna be thinking about it for the next however long.
Yeah.
Oh, Barrett, this was a loaded episode.
Very.
I'll be honest. I enjoyed the fuck out of this episode.
It was a good one. It's a great one to send us off to our upcoming trips, I think. You know what I mean?
This is we're
really about to grow the brand.
The next time you hear from us, we may have hoarse voices. Not a pun for the Kentucky Derby. But yeah, we're about to go in the thick of it. So if you guys if anyone's in the area, whether it's New York, whether it's Louisville, Kentucky, come say hi. We'd love to see you guys. Any closing thoughts, Barrett?
Oh man, Randy, just ring that bell one more time for our guys over at ALD. What's the length of the line at ALD when we're in New York that we're willing to stand in?
It's not big. It's not big for me.
No, it's not?
I've already been. Like
but you have not been to the Crosby pop up. It's not on Mulberry right
we'll get
now.
some coffees and we'll hang out. We'll do it.
I think we gotta live the scene.
I'm gonna DM Teddy and get him to the RT event.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a private showing of everything.
There we go.
And maybe a discount.
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll just maybe he'll like take it out.
He
take
should.
it out of inventory
we mentioned him
us.
on the podcast enough.
Maybe, and then next time in the next campaign, you'll see Barrett and I just grabbing stuff off the rack. Maybe on Instagram a little bit.
Yeah.
Put us in the campaign, Teddy, please.
That's it though. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys later.